Okay, these next few clips that you're going to see are on something that the Trump administration is doing that no one before has done regarding wellness checks. And then there's the final clip, which was the one that kind of ripped my heart out.
Because as we know, sometimes, I mean, you wouldn't even go to their houses. Even a phone call was enough, and if you didn't get them on the phone, that was your wellness check. You're done. Like we dropped the child off at what they told us was the father or the aunt. Probably good. Don't need to check up on them ever again. What do you think like these new wellness checks will look like? Is it going to be door knocking, like full on SWAT teams to get to the bottom of this, or is it going to be another phone call situation?
That's not a wellness check. You call a house, person answers, don't know if a relative or not, or guardian or not, or a trafficker. The phone call? That's it? Oh, the kid is not here. Sorry. Okay, click on to the next one. I mean, don't get me started on how mediocre and incompetent a lot of people are at their jobs and how little they care. They just want to do the basic minimums, but there's no sense of importance in prior wellness checks. But we're about to hear how that's changed.
What I will say is that the wellness checks that were done before were ridiculous. I mean, like you said, they would make a phone call. If the person didn't answer, they just closed the case. What I know
Terrible.
they are doing now is DNA testing. They are doing lots of other things. They are making sure.
Did you hear that? DNA testing. Is that an administration that cares about children? Sounds like it. Prove to me that you're the father, you're the mother. We're gonna find out. We're gonna do DNA. We're gonna find out. And if not, you're gonna be in serious trouble. You got something to answer for.
People have valid IDs to be a sponsor. Imagine that. They are.
Imagine. I love the sarcasm. Imagine that you've got a valid ID to be in charge of a child. You know, you're illegal. It's no big deal. Come on in. Democrats, we can use you for a voter one of these days. Despicable.
Making sure that the sponsor has funds to care for the child so that they're not pimping them out for sex or putting them into forced labor. So
Exactly. So just to recap, there is a strategy with ending the trafficking, which is cutting off the money, following sponsors, arresting cartel and those who are in that child trafficking network, getting into the tentacles. And again, that includes NGOs who, under the name of religion or humanitarian aid, are trafficking children. Second part is we're going to go find you. We're going to do proper wellness checks. We're going to actually knock on doors. We're going to, instead of phone calls, we're actually going to do DNA tests. We're actually going to. There was an article on Epoch Times. Some of you know of it, but it's a very good way to subscribe to the news. They get stuff no one else does. There were 30,000 children just this year that Tom Homan and others have rescued, have saved, have found. Remember, what was the number? 300,000. When Trump took office, 300,000 at least children were missing, unaccounted for. As they've also, this lady talks about, I don't show the whole clip, we found dead bodies now. But this is the last clip. Again, this is the one that it's really hard, but let's play it, and she's going to talk about Tom Homan.
Done a door-knocking campaign to find the children. So this is the first of its kind. I give the Trump administration great kudos for doing this.
As you should.
Tom Homan, if you've ever heard him speak about the children who he's had to, get down on one knee and listen to the story of these small girls where like 8 cartel members have crawled up on her and taken her innocence and the deadness in her eyes.
Sit on that for a minute. Sit on that. Especially if you're one of these open borders people, especially if you think ICE raids and deportations are bad. Sit on that for a minute. You heard her voice crack. How many times she's probably told this story about Tom Homan. And he does do that. He gets down on his knees and talks to these little girls. And 8 men crawled upon this one. You know what that means. Defiled in who knows what kind of horrible ways, but we all know what she's talking about. They found her, they rescued her, and there's deadness in her eyes. Sit on that I'm sitting on it. So my voice is going up. These are really bad people. And if you were an NGO and you took a child there and you didn't care, and that ignorance is just no longer an excuse. But they're a guarantee. I know for a fact there are people, NGOs, who knew well what was going on. But they got money. Because that's what we're all about, right? That's what we humans are all about. Or so many of us. Money. I'm infuriated, and my heart breaks when she says that. Because we need to hear some of this graphic stuff to appreciate the depth and depravity of evil, true evil.
Tom Homan is a compassionate man. Borders are compassionate. Borders are not immoral.
Amen.
We want to keep rape, especially child rape and murderers, out of our country. This just makes sense. So this is a great step forward. I believe they are serious.
One thing, if you don't know Tom Homan, he's a very, you've maybe seen him around, very gruff guy. Maybe I'll throw in a picture of him just so you have a idea of who he is. But he has had to live separate from his wife and children due to death threats because of what he's doing. These people who demonize him, and yet he's the one getting down on his knees to talk to kids and look them in the eye and tell them you're safe, you're loved, you're cared for, and the person who abused you and transported you can never touch you again. But some people want him dead. In closing, there are some things that I have been processing, but this video spurred me on to think about it and what are my takeaways, if I can say that, and maybe you benefit from these. As always, I hope you do. Number one, children are being protected. Children are being prevented from being trafficked more than ever. Children are being rescued. Children are being saved from these wolves, these horrible, evil, wicked men that are in the cartels. And I just, for those who, again, are anti-ICE or anti-closed borders, explain to me how this is bad. Explain to me how Trump is non-compassionate. I should do a whole episode on how Trump is, in his policies and his actions, is 100 times more compassionate than any president we've had. I can make that argument very easily. Yet, Orange Man bad, he's a meanie, he spoke to a reporter in the wrong tone. Number two, the evil cartels are getting justice. My worldview includes a God that administers justice through agents and sometimes through himself. But they're getting justice. They're getting deported. They're getting arrested. The ones that try to kill ICE agents or ones to Border Patrol, they're getting killed. That's not a lot of those, but there's some of them. And then I'm going to throw in the drug runners coming from Venezuela who are getting blown out of the ocean. Yeah, I'm sure that TDA, Trinidad Aragua, or MS-13, I'm sure none of them trafficked children, right? Give me a break. Groups who made billions trafficking children are getting what's coming to them. Finally, the prior administration grabbed them by the hand and said, come on in. And if you are for these people coming over because they're your race, La Raza, then you are also despicable and vile. It's a thought experiment, shouldn't it be? The French Canadians were coming over the border in droves. Schools being overrun, hospitals, emergency rooms, every sign, every phone, customer service, everything's in press 1 for French. Everything started changing like that. They didn't want to assimilate. And they were bringing over droves, and they were trafficking children. I wonder if these same people, I really would love that thought experiment to be posed to them, these same people that are coming south of the border, if they would feel the same way coming north of the border, if they were French Canadians and all the same stuff was happening. They were just French Canadian. And I realize people coming to the southern border, there's not all of Latino or Latina origin. I realize that. The third thing you can take away from this, when I see over and over on the news about protests against ICE, against people ramming ICE vehicles, which happens all the time, or trying to run an ICE agent over, as well as the NGOs. If you had your way, more children would be harmed. Do you get that? You're for that, whether you know it or not. And if you do know it, you are the most vile. And to take the side of criminals over children. That's the argument I'm making if you're for open borders, or because they're of your same ethnicity. And there are plenty of white women out there protesting against ICE. We've seen the Karens try to get in the way of ICE and sing their songs. And there was one other day I saw that was doing, was it yoga or something? Bunch of white Karens. Yeah, go figure. You want the world run by empathy and emotions, not logic and facts. And that's the irony of that. You think you care. You don't. You don't. You really don't care about humans. You really just don't. And I can prove over and over how this current administration cares about humans, from economics to the border to AI to trade deals. This is a short point. I guess this might, but just you heard about taxpayer dollars going to these NGOs. So that's just a minor point. Yet another example of your money, my money, going towards bad causes. And this isn't just bad. This is, I could say it's demonic. I think the cartels, I know they are demonic. I've heard of, I've read, I've seen some of their rituals straight up from hell. As I've said, if Satan had a religion, it would be Islam. And if Satan had a culture, it would be the cartel culture. Plain and simple. But let's leave on a good note. I have hope that there is a God out there who's working through human agency, but also a God out there who is a God, and one of his many attributes is a just God. And evil will be punished in this life or the next or both. So there is hope amidst the despair. There is light among the darkness. And that's good, because this is a seriously evil thing. I have said it since his first term that President Trump is God's agent in such a time as this. And I didn't come up with that originally. It was Stephen K. Bannon of the War Room. Good old Irish Catholic ex-Navy man with a huge brain, despite all of President Trump's foibles or his things that may rub me the wrong way. I realize some of you listening to this just don't have time. Maybe you're turned off by listening to this kind of stuff, but talking about human rights, this is a human rights issue. What is happening to children? Justice is coming. It has come, and it's still coming. And children are being saved. These children who have been trafficked are in a life of hell. All the stuff that happens to you, and you're not old enough to even know what's going on. That's just wicked, satanic, demonic stuff. And there's a president who's stopping it. And until next time, as always, stay alert, stand firm, show courage, and be sound.